You know that feeling when you give someone your whole heart, and they don't even bother to hold it? That was me for 5 years. 5 years of loving a man who looked right through me like I was made of glass. His name was Beckett Thorne. We met in college in Portland, Oregon. He was charming, funny, and had this smile that made my stomach flip. I was the quiet girl, the one who always showed up, always listened, always cared. But Beckett never saw me as anything more than a backup plan. A safety net. Someone to call when he was bored or lonely or needed a ride. I spent half a decade hoping he would wake up one day and realize I was right in front of him. That day never came. Instead, he showed up at my apartment with a suitcase and a smile, asking if he could crash on my couch for a few weeks. He had just broken up with another girl and needed a place to stay. I said yes. Because I was stupid. Because I still loved him. Because I thought maybe this time he would see me. Beckett ended up staying for 8 months. 8 months of watching him walk past me in my own home like I was furniture. He would come home late, smelling like perfume that wasn't mine. He would eat the food I cooked, use my Wi-Fi, leave his dirty laundry on the bathroom floor. And every time I tried to talk to him about us, he would laugh and say, "Don't ruin what we have, we're friends." Friends. He called us friends. I was paying half his rent. I was washing his clothes. I was staying up late waiting for him to come home, just to make sure he was safe. And he called me a friend. One night, I finally worked up the courage to tell him how I felt. I said, "Beckett, I love you. I've loved you for 5 years. Please just tell me if there's any chance you could ever feel the same way." He looked at me like I had just spoken a foreign language. Then he said, "I don't want to hurt you, but I don't see you that way. You're like a sister to me." A sister. 5 years of love, and he called me a sister. That night, I didn't sleep. I sat on my couch and stared at the wall until the sun came up. I thought about every moment I had wasted on him. Every text I sent that he left on read. Every time I canceled plans with friends because he needed something. Every time I put his happiness above my own. And I realized something. I wasn't in love with Beckett. I was in love with the idea of who he could be. But he was never going to be that person. So I made a decision. The next morning, I told him he had 30 days to find a new place. He looked shocked. He said, "Wait, you're kicking me out?" I said, "I'm not kicking you out. I'm choosing myself." He packed his things and left 2 weeks later. He didn't say thank you. He didn't say sorry. He just said, "Call me if you need anything." I never called. I blocked his number, deleted his social media, and started the hardest year of my life. Not because I missed him, but because I had to learn who I was without him. I threw myself into work. I had a decent job at a small tech firm in Portland's Pearl District, but I wanted more. So I started taking night classes in business management. I stopped dating. I stopped hoping. I just focused on becoming someone I could be proud of. A year passed. Then 2. Then 3. I got promoted twice. I moved into a nicer apartment in the Laurelhurst neighborhood. I made new friends who actually respected me. And then, completely by accident, I met someone. His name was Pierce Whitfield. He was smart, kind, and had this quiet confidence that didn't need to show off. We met at a coffee shop in Portland's East Side neighborhood. He spilled his drink on my laptop, apologized 100 times, and offered to buy me a new one. I laughed and said, "It's fine, it's just a computer." He insisted on taking me to dinner to make up for it. That dinner turned into a second dinner. That second dinner turned into a year of happiness I didn't know existed. Pierce wasn't flashy. He didn't talk about money. But he was successful. Very successful. I found out later that he owned a tech company worth billions. He never told me. I found out from a news article. Pierce proposed to me on a quiet Tuesday evening, no cameras, no crowds, just the two of us on a blanket in his backyard in the Forest Heights neighborhood. He said I don't need a big gesture. I just need you. I said yes before he finished the sentence. We got married 6 months later in a small ceremony with only our closest friends. No drama. No stress. Just love. I didn't post about it on social media. I didn't tell my old friends from college. I just lived my life. And for 2 years, I was genuinely happy. I forgot about Beckett. I stopped thinking about the 5 years I wasted. I moved on. But life has a funny way of bringing people back, doesn't it? I was at a charity gala at the historic Sentinel Hotel in downtown Portland with Pierce. He had been asked to speak, so we were seated at the main table near the stage. I was wearing a simple navy blue dress, nothing too flashy. And then I saw him. Beckett. Standing near the bar, holding a cheap drink, wearing a suit that didn't fit. He looked older. Tired. His eyes scanned the room and then landed on me. I watched Beckett's face change in slow motion. First confusion, then recognition, then something I had never seen on him before. Regret. He walked toward our table, weaving through the crowd like he was in a trance. When he got closer, Pierce put his hand on my knee under the table. He knew. I had told him everything about Beckett long ago. Pierce didn't say a word. He just squeezed my knee gently and smiled at me. Beckett stopped in front of our table and said, "Sloane? Is that really you?" I said, "Hello, Beckett. It's been a while." He looked at Pierce, then back at me, then at the name card on the table that said Mr. and Mrs. Whitfield. He said, "You're married?" I said yes. Almost 3 years now. He swallowed hard. I could see him doing the math in his head. 3 years of marriage meant I had moved on quickly after he left. Or maybe I had already moved on before. He didn't know what to say. He just stood there, frozen, while hundreds of people chatted and laughed around him. Beckett finally found his voice. He said, "You look amazing. I mean, you always looked good, but wow. You look happy." I said, "I am happy. Very happy." He glanced at Pierce again and said, "So, what do you do?" Pierce introduced himself calmly and said, "I'm in tech." That was it. No mention of billions, no mention of the company name. Just "I'm in tech." Beckett nodded, not realizing who he was standing in front of. Then he turned back to me and said, "I've been thinking about you a lot lately. I made a lot of mistakes. I should have treated you better." I looked at him and felt nothing. No anger, no sadness, no satisfaction. Just nothing. I said, "Beckett, I forgave you a long time ago. But I don't think about you anymore. I hope you find what you're looking for." His face crumbled. He opened his mouth to say something else, but Pierce stood up and said, "It was nice meeting you. We should probably find our seats. The program is about to start." Beckett nodded and walked away. The next day, I got a message from an old college friend named Callahan. She said, "I ran into Beckett last night after the gala. He was a mess. He told me he saw you and couldn't believe how successful you've become. He said he made the biggest mistake of his life letting you go." I read the message twice, then deleted it. I didn't feel good. I didn't feel bad. I just felt nothing. And that's when I knew I had truly healed. A few weeks later, I heard through the grapevine that Beckett had been Googling Pierce. He finally figured out who my husband was. A billionaire. He sent me a friend request on social media. I ignored it. He sent me a message saying, "I'm so happy for you. I wish things had been different between us." I didn't reply. Because things weren't different. They were exactly as they should be. I had spent 5 years hoping Beckett would see me. And now he did. But I didn't care anymore. Here is what I learned. You cannot make someone love you by loving them harder. You cannot convince someone of your worth by shrinking yourself to fit their expectations. Beckett didn't ignore me for 5 years because I wasn't good enough. He ignored me because he wasn't capable of seeing past himself. And that was never my problem to fix. If you are watching this and you are pouring your heart into someone who refuses to hold it, hear me. Stop. Walk away. Choose yourself. Because the right person won't need to be convinced. They will see you. Not as a backup plan or a safety net. But as the person they want to build a life with. I thought I needed Beckett to choose me. But what I really needed was to choose myself. I am Sloane Prescott. I wasted 5 years on a man who didn't love me. And then I built a life so beautiful that when he finally saw me, all he could feel was regret. Thank you for listening to my story. If you have ever loved someone who didn't love you back, know that you are not alone. Their inability to see your worth is not a reflection of you. It is a reflection of them. Keep healing, keep growing, and one day you will look back at the person who broke your heart and feel nothing but gratitude. Because they made room for someone better. If this story touched your heart, please like and subscribe. Share it with someone who needs to hear that they deserve more than being someone's backup plan. This is Sloane. See you in the next story. And remember, the best revenge is not making them regret losing you. It is living so well that their regret becomes irrelevant.